Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 2, GoGo Juice, written by LG Father Anthracite. The new human was not happy. He was a technical operator and ran some of the mechanical systems on the ship. But right now, he was in the captain's cabin bellowing so loudly that everyone could hear him clearly, even through the closed door. "It's mine! I want it back, and you have no right to take it. I have a prescription. I will report you to the authorities." The captain, being more civilized drunk, was not audible in his response. "With all due respect, Captain, go feck yourself." The cabin door opened, and the sound of crashing furniture as the human swatted a chair out of his way, slamming into the wall. He left the captain and walked to his personal cabin. They closed behind him. "Feck!" And then silence. It had been 3 days since the human's outburst, and he'd spent the first day in his cabin, and the 2 after that in sick bay, languishing in an auto dock. After another day in his cabin, he finally reported to work with a note from the medical about his absence. He spent the whole day cleaning his tools and workbench and dismantling a compressor. The day after that, he replaced a single bearing and reassembled the compressor. It took him all day, and he had to redo sections over several times before getting them right. He was tight-lipped and didn't initiate conversation with anyone. After his shift was over, he would leave the shop, head directly to his cabin, and not leave again until his next shift. It had been several weeks since the human had had his alteration with the captain. We were making dock at a station. After everyone was dismissed for shore leave, the human ran off the ship. After several minutes, the human returned with law officers in tow. He led them to the bridge where the captain was dealing with the navigator, as they hashed out a route for the next leg of the journey. The authorities had the bridge cleared, and the door was sealed with just the human and the captain with them. After several minutes, the door opened and the captain was followed to his cabin, where he opened a safe and extracted a small bag, about the size of 2 or 3 balled-up human hands. He handed it to the authorities, who checked the contents and handed it over to the human. The human took the bag, thanked the authorities, and glared at the captain one last time and left the cabin. "Smith, human, may I inquire if this isn't a breach of decorum as to what exactly the captain took from you?" I asked. He had departed the spaceport about 10 days ago, and the human had returned to his previous friendly self. It was a dietary supplement that I need to function properly. Without it, I do not rest well, and I wind up sleeping a lot. I am not at liberty to discuss the details, but I'll tell you when my bid on this heap is over." "Very well. I'm glad to have you return to your normal self." "Me too," he said with a laugh. "So, Smith Human, as it is your farewell drink, please educate me. What is the nature of your conflict with the captain?" I asked, placing the human drink in front of him, as I set my own down and then sat on the small table. "That bastard took my coffee." "Coffee?" "It's a beverage made from ground seeds steeped in water," Smith Human explains. "Why would he take such a thing?" "Because it contains several toxic and psychoactive compounds, which are highly regulated, apparently. I even made sure to get the proper medical clearances before signing on, but that jerk wouldn't listen. I had to get the cops involved. Apparently this sort of thing is kind of common. And soon as I told the cops I wanted to file a complaint, they asked if it was about coffee." Smith Human smirks and laughs a little as he sips his beverage, something he called beer. He puts his glass down and says, "The cops told him he was lucky. Apparently some crews had been attacked by the humans whose coffee was taken. They suggested that he return it and count his blessings that I showed such self-restraint. If you're ever in a position of authority, remember this. Do not feck with the human's coffee. It's asking for trouble." End of story. Story number 1. Thesis project written by LG Father Anthracite. Nelson sat quietly in the chair, trying not to panic. His hands were cuffed to the arms of the chair, and a thick black bag was over his head. He'd been at home, eating some microwave mac and cheese with a couple sliced-up hot dogs in it, when the front door was blown off its hinges, and men in tactical gear rushed in and grabbed him. He was bound and gagged. His head was covered, and he was thrown into the back of the vehicle and driven away. After what felt like an eternity, he was hauled from the back of the car, marched through some building, ridden in several elevators, then finally forced into a chair. He had been left here for another eternity. Silently, he wondered if he would ever see his family again, ever see anyone again. He heard a door open and footsteps come through. The bag was ripped off his head and the gag removed. He blinked in the suddenly harsh light glaring in his eyes. "Nelson Mendel?" "Yes. Why am I here? What did I do?" "You expect me to believe that you have no idea what got you here?" "Dude, I'm just eating mac and cheese when SWAT snagged me. I honestly have no idea why I'm here. I don't even know where here is." His voice was shaky and nervous. There was a small, metallic clicking noise. "Where were you at 2:50 p.m. today?" asked the voice behind the lights. I was in a lab in Breckman Hall. I'm a computer science major at Banks. I should be in the logs on the security tapes. I swear, I was just updating the software for my thesis project. You can probably find the activity log on the server too. Call Dr. Fredericks. He can confirm everything." Another click. "What is your thesis project?" "Man, just tell me what you think I did. I'll tell you if it was me. I swear," Nelson pleaded. "What is your thesis project? Answer the question." The voice was annoyed sounding. "I'm working on a new AI model. It's pretty technical, but it's a combination of custom fabricated hardware and neural pathway mimicry. I'm trying to generate a general-purpose AI for industrial automation. It's just a fancy process control software." "Man, can you just talk to me? What is going on? I'm nobody. I didn't do anything but sit in front of a terminal and write code and design hardware. I haven't done anything, I swear." The light seemed to dim slightly for a moment, but Nelson wasn't sure. "Who wrote the patch you applied?" came the voice. "Me," Nelson said. There was a pause, and Nelson heard the sound of a chair scrape slightly on the floor. After a few moments, the question started again. "When was the last time that you were out of the country?" 6 or 7 years ago. I went to Cancun for spring break. I went with a few of my frat brothers. Why?" Nelson saw a shuddering movement behind the lights in his eyes and heard the door open behind him. He heard steps and the door closed. "Does anyone else have access to your lab?" "Yeah, lots of people. There's a whole slew of postdocs that use the fab equipment." The door opened again and the footsteps came in. As the door closed, Nelson saw the lights flicker for a moment. He wasn't sure if there was a power issue or if someone had shaken them. "Do you have any knowledge of the attack that happened today?" "What attack?" Nelson was confused. Why would they think that he attacked anyone? I wouldn't attack anyone." There was a noticeable pause, and finally the speaker buzzed to life. "The machine is down, no further verification needed." Nelson heard the disgruntled sigh. "Should we proceed with the questioning or hold off for replacement equipment?" "Proceed. Monitoring equipment is functional. Verification can happen later." The lights flickered again as the speaker cut out. "Wait just a minute," Nelson said. "I think I'm being pretty compliant. So could someone please, for the love of God, tell me what the feck is going on?" Another long pause, followed by a tiny voice from the speaker. "Tell him." The interrogator's voice came back. "At approximately 3 p.m. local time, a coordinated distributed denial of service attack began against the local network backbone provider's server. At 3:30 p.m., most of the Midwest was offline, and both coasts were seeing traffic slow to a crawl across the entirety of the internet. At approximately 4:15, the entire DDoS attack stopped. The traffic volume went back to normal. Now, this is pretty common stuff for the most part, aside from the scale, and the level of access to which the perpetrator may have gained access. The source of the attack, which was in no way hidden or concealed, was your system in the lab." The lights flickered a few more times, and the speaker clicked on for a moment, and some garbled noises came out. "Ever since the attacks, random network issues have been cropping up in the electrical grid and various affected systems. We need to know what kind of attack you were planning, because whatever it was, you messed it up big time, kid. This is serious. You are being held as a terrorist threat." "What?" Elson sat in the chair, his face a map of confusion and terror. He hadn't done this. He had no reason to do anything like this. The lights in the room suddenly cut out, leaving the room in pitch black. The speaker cut on. There was a garbled voice. After several seconds, it came again, and Nelson felt a cold chill run down his spine. The voice could finally be heard. Then a cold machine-generated voice issuing from the speaker, over and over again, came the message. Let my father go. End of story. This is a special thank you to the one, the only, the legendary Eric Hino, who has become the only Tier 6 patron. Just a quick shout out to the T5 peeps. Bob the Dragon, Cat Crab Lobster, Data Magnet, Dark Machine, Try Again 95, Fudic Yol, Astrea the Dreamer, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Athelia, Meridian 117, and Jordan Bucksmorm. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.